I'm teaching my students that we're magicians. To take a blank canvas that's all white, to create a world or a dimension, it's magic.
Yeah.
Just like a chef knows how to make some food taste good.
Yeah.
You need more salt, you need more pepper. You can't go out into this world saying you graduated from this university and not know how to really cook. Sometimes they're trying to scam you digitally.
Yeah.
They can put 12 of your pieces into an algorithm and say, make one more in this style, and use that to do their own thing. It's scary. The future is scary.
In a world optimized for distraction, creation is an act of defiance. Art is proof of human agency, evidence that a mind chose meaning over noise. Charles Philippe Jean-Pierre works from this place, a professor of fine arts at Howard University. He comes from a lineage shaped by movement, memory, and resistance, and his work takes territory. Through rhythm, form, and discipline, he explores what it means to be rooted without being bound. As AI and digital tools accelerate creation, Charles reminds us of a harder truth. Mastery simply cannot be automated. This is a conversation about art as power, about legacy, and about choosing agency in an age built on distractions. Welcome to the Alpha Renaissance with Charles Philippe Jean-Pierre. How you doing today, Charles?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling energized. I feel like I'm in the caterpillar, when the caterpillar gets into the cocoon type stage, and I'm like, my wings are about to blossom. Yeah, but I feel like I'm in the thick of it right now.
You are entering a new phase of your journey in life. You're shedding some old layers. What's coming? What are the old layers and what's coming in the future?
To be less abstract and just more physical, I just moved studio spaces. A studio space I've had for over 6 years in the center of the city, downtown, state of the art gallery, studio space, really accessible. And we shut that studio down after 6 years, 2019 to 25. And so I'm like literally in a new space, physically and literally, knowing where my paintbrushes are, knowing where my books are, knowing where everything's been for the last 6 years, to kind of condense that and then open it up in a new space that's a little bit further out of the city. I'm in College Park now.
Okay.
Another university town.
Yeah.
Just kind of being open to what's next.
Yeah.
I didn't want to sign a expensive lease in DC without like seeing what all the opportunities will be. And maybe that might be international too. So I kind of had like, I joke around sometimes, like, you never go into a war, you don't know where you're gonna win. And sometimes it's time to retreat too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's retreat, sometimes it's time to get
healthy. Tactical retreat.
A tactical retreat.
Yeah, doesn't mean that we are cowardly. It doesn't mean that we're scared. It just means that we recognize that our plan may not be working.
Yeah. So the new space is it's a community. It's there's a few artists in the space. One of them's a designer for NASA.
Okay.
Another one's a potter. Another one is a sculptor. So I'm still in conversation with high caliber artists, but it's still new.
Yeah.
It's still a foreign, unknown territory. So I think I'm gonna kind of lean on them and their expertise as far as 3D printing and sculpting and working more in like 3D media. I feel like I've mastered. I don't want to say I've done all I can do with the 2D concepts, the conceptual collages that you've seen in the past, and the acrylic paintings and that sort. But I'm ready to like take this more into like outdoor installations and things of that sort.
Interesting. So that's where you are now, right? You are of Haitian
Descent.
ancestry, Haitian descent. Going back, that's where you are now. But going back, what about your origin shaped your eye for art?
Yeah. My origin story started in Canada, actually. And my mom was an art collector, Haitian art collector. Her older brother was in Montreal, a suburb of Montreal, and he would send her art. And I had aunts in Haiti, and whenever my grandmother came, she'll bring art too. So my mom and dad amassed this like nice Haitian art collection. So the real artifacts, the things that I could touch from Haiti, was the art. And I heard stories about Haiti, and a lot of those stories weren't the best, but the art was so beautiful. And I was like, I need to get connected to that. I need to touch that. My mother used to tease me like, what do you know about these palm trees? What do you know about these mangoes? And I'm like, I know about the mangoes.
I know palm trees
in Chicago.
City, yeah.
Nah, so good story though. Like we used to go to the East Side, Commercial Avenue.
Yeah.
In the Latin market, and it was the first time I see my mom like speak Spanish. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And you know, she like these Haitian mangoes, these real mangoes. And I'm like 4 or 5 years old, and I try to keep the seeds and plant mango trees in Chicago. They'll never grow.
Yeah.
But I'm like 5 years old. Like I want to make Haiti here. Like I want to bring
you feel
Haiti
that connectedness
here.
there.
Yeah, I don't want to get too political, but my nickname was Reagan growing up. Reagan. I was born in the Reagan era, and they was like, you could be president. So I was like, Reagan, come here. Like, you the American. And like Reagan was the face of America at the time.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty interesting too.
That relationship your parents had with art, you know, it gave you your origin introduction into it.
Yeah.
Where were you when you realized that art was going to help you tell a story?
Where was I? My father was a videographer, so he told stories. He had a TV show on public access in Harvey.
Get Out. I didn't know that.
Yeah. They was shooting Gangsta Town. But he wanted to keep the kids off the street. So my father used to be a videographer for the Saba Museum.
Yeah.
Nation of Islam. He used to film their weddings.
Oh, wow.
The Black Expos. He was like a archivist to a certain extent. I still own his archive, and I'm planning on doing some work with that because he has like raw, uncut footage of Chicago in the 90s on VHS.
Yeah.
So I've started converting some of them to CDs, but I need to just put them on a jump drive at this point. But we were always at the DeSable Museum, and he was kind of proud to be Haitian, but proud to be Black and American. He was like, you know, this city was founded by a Haitian man, a free man.
Yeah. Jean-Baptiste Dusabo.
Jean-Baptiste Dusabo. So it was like he was constantly volunteering. He was in the community. And so that shaped my view too. His father was a textile merchant in Haiti. They used to get fabrics from the Middle East, the Levant, from Syria, Lebanon. There's a huge population of them in Haiti. And my grandfather worked for them, had a store, and worked with textiles. So now I work with textiles. My mother's father was a poet, storyteller, like community guy. So I just put those two together. I tell stories with textiles to honor both of them.
Wow. So that was where it all started. A huge influence from your family, huge influence from your ancestry. But you didn't stay in Chicago. You kind of moved around, right? You're basically you travel. You've seen art in so many other places. How did that change your perspective of artistry from where you started?
Interesting. I remember, I don't know if I have my days right, but my years right, but the first time I saw Coming to America was in Canada. Right, so I wasn't even in America when I was seeing Coming to America. So I'm seeing like the dancing scenes, the feathers, the wedding scene, all of that. And Eddie Murphy was like a big star. And I think I was seeing it in French too, watching it in French. But I say all this to say that like I've had like these international experiences as a kid, and that kind of shaped me as like a global citizen to a certain extent. I've always felt like Montreal was a second home to me. Brooklyn was a second home to me. The summer I got my driver's license, I spent the whole summer in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I had a car in Brooklyn at 16.
That's crazy.
Making friends, like going down Flatbush and Eastern Parkway, and like I could see the city from kind of a bird's eye view to a certain extent. Because like even there's adults in New York that don't have cars.
No, I mean, people in New York, adults in New York don't have driver's license.
They don't have driver's license. So I'm like, I had a driver's license, I had a car, and I had a radio.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm listening to soca music, listening to reggae music. DMX was big.
Yeah.
I know you talked about having international experiences, but like New York or Brooklyn was a world of its own. So I split time between Brooklyn and Montreal in the summers. And then once I got out of college, then it was over. It was Paris and everything else after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So then like you take all of this and you want to express yourself artistically. What themes did you decide to speak to?
Yeah, identity and belonging have been two big things for me. Like I got my Haitian citizenship. You know, it's just like making sure that I'm have something, legacy to pass down to my children, my children's children. I don't know necessarily if I'm going to spend the rest of my life in the U.S. The U.S. is going to be something I'll take with me and I'll be able to pass down to my kids, but I want to be able to pass down the Haitian identity. I've been spending a lot of time in the French Caribbean. I was in St. Martin this summer. I was in Paris this summer. I spent New Year's in Martinique. And it's like almost like country cousins.
Yeah.
You know,
you guys are all in this little club.
Yeah, it's this club, and they got their own music, they got their own food, and I'm eating it all up.
Yeah,
I'm eating it all up. It's like eating Chinese food your whole life, and then discovering Japanese or Thai food, and you're like, oh, it's other Asian foods,
other Asian countries.
Yeah, it's like as far as the Caribbean, man, like we know Jamaica and Cuba and DR, but like it's lit.
Yeah.
The Caribbean is lit. It's so diverse, but it's still one kind of general culture too.
What do you like? So for me, as a Black American, right? Like my family they don't really have much ancestry outside of America. I don't know who's which. We got some European in us, a lot of European. We have obviously a lot of West African in us. I never felt any connection, obviously, to any other country, right? There's no like country ancestry for my parents or my grandparents, right? Mm-hmm. It's just America. Being that you were born in the United States, right? You're American. Why do you think, and it's not just you, but so many who are like a first generation, they have this yearning for a place that they had probably never even been to. They just heard of, right? You see it with your Nigerians. Mm-hmm. Chicago has a lot of Irish Ukrainians, right? Like same thing. Like they're like they're more Irish and more Ukrainian or more Nigerian than any Irish or Ukrainian or Nigerian person in those countries, right? What do you think that comes from? Because it's always something that I find personally very interesting.
Yeah. I'm sure it's layered and complex. I think there's equal amounts of people that try to separate themselves from home too. So, like if you read The Jungle, so this has been going on, Chicago specifically since early 1900s. So The Jungle is a book that was depicting all the immigrants coming in from Europe and moving into like where like Pilsen right now and back of the yards and all of that. And they brought them over to be in the meat packing industries. And you had some acknowledging their roots, their ethnicities, and moving in groups, and they came in waves too. and they had to be together, stick together in order to defend themselves from the groups that were already more native or more entrenched. So you'll see that like kind of tribalism maybe that you're talking about. But on the opposite end too, you have a lot of people that lose their identity and kind of blend in and just be kind of like this amalgamation of everything that quote unquote the Americas is. I have a theory actually about one thing that makes America so unique. And we can get into that more, but I want to answer your question about the pride thing or the being more allegiant. I think there's a lot of people that lose their accents. There's a Dominican author, like how the Martinez girls lost their accent. So there's as much as there is a conscious effort to reappropriate or identify with the homeland or the country of their parents, there's also equal, I think, or more of people trying to like erase that history and just be normal white or normal black or normal whatever and just kind of blend in. So depending on what lens you're looking at it, you could notice one more than the other. But erasure is huge. And one of my fears is that you hear of second generation Chinese, third generation Japanese, fourth generation Irish, or fifth generation Ukrainian, but you don't necessarily hear like, what does third generation Haitian look like? What does fourth generation Jamaican? They're gonna be like, you ain't Jamaican, you Jafacan.
Yeah, well, I do Jafacan.
You know what I mean? Like you're not even able to claim that. So
yeah,
it's like it's a remembering. I got artwork talking about memory in general. But one thing I will say though is like my parents could have easily ended up in Canada, right? And would I have, well, they did actually, but Chicago worked out better. But would I have a Canadian fever? They could have ended up in Mexico.
totally.
And would I have a Mexican fever?
Yeah.
Or would it make more sense as a black man in Mexico to say I'm Haitian?
Yeah.
Would it make more sense as a black man in Canada to say I'm Haitian? Would it make more sense for me as a black man in China to say I'm Haitian than to say I'm Chinese? You know, so America is one of the only places, which is, I think, a gift and a curse, because of there's 50 different nations, all put together as one.
Totally.
And when you travel to Europe, you'll see that the Welsh have different customs than the English, the Irish have, the Scottish have, the French have, the Belgium have. Those are different countries with different cultures.
They actually are different countries with completely different histories. Whereas in the States, we have different states that function actually as countries, right? Within a federation, but we all have the same shared history, more or less. Very small. Maybe you were colonized by the Spanish or the French or the English, but we have a shared history, shared tongue.
I think colonization is an interesting word, and also just colonization is not the word I'm looking for. Just like
settling,
populated, settling or populated. So like New York, we think English, but it was Dutch.
Yeah, Dutch before.
Pennsylvania was Dutch.
Yeah.
So many different places were Dutch.
Totally.
And so I think that's an interesting conversation too, because like everybody wasn't intentionally trying to colonize, but a lot of people were trying to settle.
Yeah.
And so Dutch were known as traders that would trade with anybody and everybody, and not necessarily try to set roots. So there's a double or nuanced conversation with that.
And everybody had, if you want to put it nicely, everybody had different appreciation for the land, right? Whereas you have people that were coming from these European continents, they're looking at the Hudson Bay and they're like, whoa, this is a natural harbor. We have big ships. This will work. But you already have Mohawk Indians, right there, that are like, yeah, we get beaver furs here. That's what we love it for. You know what I mean? And everybody has it based on their needs and their desires for whatever reason that their cultural community needs. They settled or needed land differently. But yeah, I do think that there is also, I get what you're saying, where you probably felt there was a delusion, or I would say that you didn't want your culture to be diluted in the grand scheme of whether you guys went to Canada or whether you guys went to America. Like, that was something that resonated for you.
Yeah, that's my personal story. I think different people might have different stories.
Yeah. Well, do you see your work as like rewriting history, righting wrongs? Do you see it as setting up a new landscape for the world that you envision?
Sure. I think artists are, and it's great that we get back into art. I'm teaching my students that we're magicians to a certain extent, and you're like joining a fraternity of magicians. And it's like, there might be self-taught magicians, but if you really a magician, you had to go through a certain school, a certain channel, a certain legacy. There's a certain pathway that you have to take to become a magician. And to take a blank canvas that's all white, to create a world or a dimension, it's magic. Yeah. So I'm teaching these kids how to embrace their magic. And
putting
that's
them
how
in the Jedi training camp.
Yeah. I don't even watch. I don't know Star Wars, but I'm assuming that. And and I'm telling them, like, you're not really learning art. You're learning how to trick people's eyes. Because
what do you mean by that?
You may have never studied art, but you know what a good art is and what a bad piece of art is.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Well,
I would hope. I mean, there's something that, if something is visually appealing.
If something's visually appealing, right? So I know how to make things look visually appealing.
There's a science to it.
There's a recipe. Yeah. Just like a chef knows how to make some food taste good.
Yeah.
You need more salt. You need more pepper. You don't have enough acid in there. There's like 5 ingredients, umami, these flavor notes, right?
Yeah.
So I know flavor notes for visual art. And that's kind of the basis in the format. Like, if you know line, shape, color, texture, form, and these things, like I'm telling my students, y'all, you can't go out into this world saying you graduated from this university and not know how to really cook.
Yeah. Yeah.
How to really cook. And I think I'm teaching students how to cook. I'm teaching students how to embrace their magic. It's a spiritual part to it too.
It's also like a discipline, right? Which oftentimes when people hear of anything what is art related, they don't always think about the discipline that it takes to learn and to get a vision out there. Is that something that came natural to you, or is it something you had to work for?
Always viewed myself as an underdog, always viewed myself as an outsider, always viewed myself as someone that had to outwork everybody else. I don't want to come off as arrogant, but I feel like I got to this mountaintop, because you mountain climb, you get to this mountaintop and you looking around, it's like, I'm the only one here.
Yeah.
It's long,
Yeah.
I had an artist pull me to the side. He said, "You unk, what you saw? You unk now.
Yeah.
You don't be a gatekeeper." I was like, "Me, the gatekeeper? What are you, me, the gatekeeper?"
So a younger artist told you that?
Yeah, he's about 10 years younger than me, doing well. And he was like, "You're gonna be my mentor." And I was like, "I like that drive. I like that.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk once a month and you're gonna put me on." And I'm like, I was thinking, I was still trying to open more doors and more doors and more doors. And I was laser focused on the future. But I realized like I've been through so many doors that I got to make sure it doesn't shut behind me.
Yeah.
And I got to get the keys to the next cat so they
Yeah.
can build upon what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense and not too arrogant.
No, I think arrogance gets like used misappropriately, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it arrogance or is it confidence, right? And your journey is your journey. Your experiences are what they are. You had to go through those doors, and you sometimes you forget about the doors that you go through because they're maybe so long ago.
Yeah.
But you still had to go through them, and that mind state that you had to be in. Somebody else benefits from being mentored by you and learning how to navigate it.
For sure. I think we had an interesting conversation last time I was in Chicago.
Yeah.
And one of the brothers in the room was like, we got to stop code switching. And I disagreed with him, like respectfully. And then I found out he was like a communications like guru. And I was like, oh, I could have been wrong. Let me, tuck my hat. But I think I still stand on my view. I think I'm still questioning. I'm open to feedback. And I wouldn't have been so headstrong in my pushback. But I literally had to switch hats after getting schooled by this guy that wanted mentorship from me, right?
Yeah.
I had to code switch, right? Like I'm moving in this world as this like determined, passionate, driven artist. And he's like, nah, we need you to be the lookout for us. If you on the top of the mountain, you could see down and tell us which route to come up because you already made it up there. And I'm still trying to climb up. That's a code switch.
Everything in life is a code switch, right? You wear pajamas when you go to sleep. That's a code switch. Like, if you speak more than one language, that's the epitome
of a code switch.
Of a code switch. You know what? Like, I lived abroad as well, and one thing it teaches you is that it not only should you code switch, you must, if you want to have a deeper meaning of your own code, right? Because when you learn a different language, if you speak a different language, words don't equally translate to other languages. You're translating concepts. And what you learn is when you speak another language, how did the words evolve to conceptualize something that another person from another individual from another culture is trying to describe? You're both trying to people in different languages, translation is not the same. It's conceptual translation. You don't get a chance to understand where you come from unless you code switch and put yourself in someone else's shoes. I think it's so, you talk about arrogance, it's so arrogant to think that your code is good enough. You don't need to switch. It's so arrogant. Your code, you stay the same. Everybody works toward your code that you choose and refuse not to switch to. You're too good to code switch. It's insane.
Yeah, and it's also a privilege to be able to code switch. So, like for my Haitian audience or Francophone audience, like in greeting, it's just an example. And I don't even know if this but there's an art to it, and we're talking about art, right? And oftentimes people will greet you in French. And then they see that you can speak French, and it's like, okay, now we can speak Creole together, But if that person seems pretty firm in their French, then you got to keep talking to them in French. Or if that person seems shaky in their French, then you could just switch to English. You know what I mean? But you have to. It's a checking back and forth.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, we good on the same level. I didn't know, like, I was groomed to. Be in the position that I'm in right now. I told my mom I got, we could say hired or hired as a consultant at the embassy of Haiti. Have you been practicing your French? That was the first question she asked.
Yeah.
I'm like, slow down, say congratulations.
Yeah.
And it was like, you gotta make sure the family is represented right,
Totally.
And why did I say it? It's just an art to speak in. There's an art to live in. There's an art to
Well, when you're doing
moving,
that, you're
traveling,
switching codes.
switching codes.
So what are you doing? You're signaling.
Signaling.
We're signaling. We're communicating. We're using words to actually communicate, but we're not communicating words. We're communicating background. We're communicating life experience. We're communicating your class, your exposure. I'm trying to identify what is your exposure to life. I'm 41. You're 41.
Yeah.
I don't know you.
Yeah.
What has your life been?
Yeah. What has your life?
What has your life been? So we go back and forth in Creole or French or with some version of patois, some version of.
I speak a fourth language, and the visual arts is a language. It's one of the oldest languages. Before we could even Google Translate or talk across cultures, I could draw a picture of a horse or draw a picture of water, and we don't even speak the same language. You could take me to the water.
Yeah.
Or I could draw a picture of a chicken, and you be like, oh, you want to eat? You know what I'm saying? The early quote unquote settlers or
natives
settlers, native colonists, it took 7 years to kind of fully translate the languages. You know why?
Why?
The seeds were the translators.
Interesting.
They had to grow up in both worlds. It was the half-breeds
that could communicate with both.
Yeah.
You know, mestizos throughout history have always been very special. What I mean by that, just mixed-blooded, half-blooded people, because they're natural diplomats, because people feel comfortable when they see themselves and others, right? Throughout history, I mean, you look at Barack Obama, right? It's something about him where physically people see themselves, right? Whether they were black or white, they saw themselves in him, right? And so it's very unique. It's very interesting that you brought that up.
You brought up something about color, code switching, language, and concepts. So the color blue in the United States feels like a real primary blue, like a Lego blue, Lego block blue, right? Generic blue,
just the most standard blue you could think of.
But azul in Spanish, the same word, is more of a water seafoam blue. It's more, it's literally a color like La Casa Azul, which is Frida Kahlo's house. It ain't Lego blue.
Yeah, it's like lighter blue.
It's a lighter blue,
but it's not diluted. In a sense, right? Like it's still
rich and
blue
strong
that captures, but they're on a different.
And so their whole concept, we could be saying blue, and Google Translate will tell you blue.
Yeah.
But in their minds, that's not blue. Lego blue is not blue in Latin America.
Yeah.
Lego blue is not blue in Haiti.
Yeah.
That ocean, that water, that sky is the standard for what blue is in their mind.
Yeah. Well, they're on a different, latitude, longitude, right? And that's what they see from their reality. Maybe it's a harsher sun, right? That gives them more light, gives them more brightness. So that blue looks different, right? Yeah, again, that's a code switch.
A Caribbean blue compared to a European standard or what blue is. I don't know if I'm getting too deep or too political or anything like that, but I just like your bringing up that we're translating concepts, not really words.
No. Yeah, we're translating thoughts. Yeah. And your work.
Oh, you asked me about that.
Well, in your work, I was trying to see what concepts you're spreading, what concepts you're sharing, because it's more than just the colors.
Yeah.
It's more than just a mural, right? It's a feeling, it's an emotion that you want people, when they look at it, they say, oh, yeah, I see what he was trying to do.
You were talking about mestizos earlier. I think like my work is a hybrid of sorts of this, like North America, Caribbean, Latin America. Even I've spent a good amount of time on the continent now. My next exhibition is in Kenya. And I realize the concept that you said, like being in South Africa, they were like, you guys keep calling this the motherland, the motherland, the motherland, but it's like, it's gimmicky.
Gimmicky, yeah.
It feels like Senegal is Senegal. Like they have their allegiances to their own places too. They're not this Pan-African wide national continental collection.
Diasporic even. Like and shout out to, it's a lot of people I believe that, are, you have the year returns, and I think these are good events, right? Where people connect to something that they have questions about. My perspective is, I'm on the other side of the Atlantic. I got respect for it. I got respect for people and other people that are diaspora that feel differently, by the way. You're more than welcome to feel differently. But man, the reason that I'm over here is because my ancestors were prisoners of war.
Yeah.
And they were fighting against whoever sold them or whoever enslaved them, right? And our history is over here. For me, I don't feel the need to connect to a continent that didn't want me.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, like, sometimes my collages are almost like tectonic plates coming and meeting each other. I think that, like, our minds have to be able to expand outside of the concept of nation states. Mm-hmm. So for millennia, there were empires. And then the nation state came after that as a concept. And I feel like you were talking about technology. There's new empires being built on the digital world, right? So it's going to be like, you're an American, or are you an Apple person, or are you a Samsung person, or are you a highway person, or something like that. There's going to be these new kind of systems. Yeah, because a nation is a system, an organization, a structure that's going to kind of govern our lives. I overheard, I don't know if this is a fact, but like one of the tech giants was proposing paying its employees in the tech money, just like that. Like you work for us, you shop with us, you live in our
digital
communities, you use our digital coins and everything, right? And like, I think we're going to get to that point where people are going to kind of like, do I live in a Target community or a Walmart community? Do I live in a Apple community or a Android community type thing like that? Like, we're prideful, but in the same sense that it like almost seems ridiculous to be so prideful. I don't want to downplay America or Haiti or China or anything like that in that sense, because I'm extremely proud to be American. I'm extremely proud to be Haitian. Extremely proud to have connections to Canada. But from like the top view, looking down, in 300 years, are they going to remember the tech companies or the countries? You know what I mean?
Well, I would think that even you think about a tribe, you think about a nation, you think about an empire, those are all different forms of technology. Like, because necessity is the mother of these technologies, right? So people realize, well, you know what? We're in a family. We need to stick together. You know what? We're bigger than just one family unit. We're a tribe. Yeah, we're a clan, right? Clans make up tribes, right? So then we're like, yeah, we're a clan and a tribe. And then we're a nation, another form of technology. We're an empire because we brought other nations and tribes together. Yeah. Another form of technology. Then nation states. And nation states were and are from the analog era, right? I do agree. Like, what's going to happen when you have a nation that isn't controlling the digital economy, like you have in decentralized digital coins, right? These are the things that a nation state doesn't have the monopoly on, nation states on. Some corporations are richer than
Some nations.
some nations.
So
Some billionaires are richer than some nations.
to tie this back to art, like I have more access to Haitian art in 2025 than I did 2 years after my family left Haiti. I have more access to Haitian music in 2025 than 2 years after my family. We were closer in distance separation from Haiti 40 years ago, but technology has created this bridge that never existed before. And I think bridges are going to continue to be built. So I can see right now what the life of a 13-year-old Haitian boy is. Just a regular, not like impoverished, but like goes to school.
Has a phone.
Yeah. He can record what kind of music he's listening to, what kind of fashion he's doing. We were disconnected, locked out. All you can do was experience it in Flatbush or try to experience it in Montreal or just listen and hear stories. I used to, I remember, I think it was 97. I heard Soca for the first time. I was like, this is not normal reggae, because they used to sell the mix CDs.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is, and I couldn't get on the rhythm, get on the beat. And I had to try to train myself to learn the beat, but it was like, I had to get the physical copy.
Yeah.
I had to get the fit. I didn't even know this music existed to even delve into it. And like, I saw a kind of I saw opportunity. I came back to Chicago with mixtapes, with mixed CDs.
Yeah.
And it was like, what you listening to reggae music for? You Haitian. I'm like, man, it's Caribbean culture.
Yeah.
Right. But I didn't know everything about the Caribbean. You know, I was limited to the Bob Marley and whatever. It was like the mix CD, but I had to do that travel. I had to do that work. And that was technology too. The CDs were technology too, now that I think about it.
Well, like you're able to intersect with Haiti at this level now because of the digitization of the market you're in.
You've done a significant amount of travel. I've done a significant amount of travel. I might be changing the subject, but is there a place that you feel uncomfortable or like not good enough to go on this planet?
Nope.
You're really privileged for that. There's not many places that I go that I feel uncomfortable or I don't feel fit in or belong or something like that.
Even in really dangerous places, conflict zones, I never feel like I'm not supposed to be there. Yeah. Actually, my problem is, my wife wants me to be away from these places. And she doesn't want me doing medical missions in some of these places. But like, I never feel anything, Yeah. Why do you bring that up?
It's probably less than 5% of the people on this planet that feel that safe or feel that comfortable. And I think it's the people that are able to travel and not feel comfortable are the ones that's willing to take risks. And I think when you're willing to take those risks, you're able to get further.
Totally.
So there's very few rewards without risk. I was reading a book called The Psychology of Money, and they said that risk and luck are the different sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And what we call lucky is really just people taking risk. And a lot of times what we call risk was people being lucky.
Yeah.
Chapter 1, hope this can tie into art, but they talked about it was a 1 in a million chance of Bill Gates going to a high school in 1968 and that high school having computers and giving them access to those computers. And he learned it, masters it, 1 in a million chance.
Yeah.
There was actually 3 founders of what today has become Microsoft.
Totally.
But the third founder, which was the smartest out of all 3, took a 1 in a million chance and went hiking and died in a hiking accident, which is a 1 in a million chance that you would die in a hiking accident, right? You would call Bill Gates lucky. You would call the smartest one out of the clique unlucky, or he took a risk by going hiking and died. But I think as artists, we have to be these risk takers. Life tells you, go to school, get a job, sell your labor for amount of money, sell yourself for amount of money, and then live off of that. But an artist says, I'm gonna step outside of that train, that bread line, and I'm gonna create something on my own that's gonna be valuable to society, that people will be able to appreciate, and go from there. So like, we're risk takers. So
Yeah.
I think I'm sitting here as an artist and an educator. And I love sitting in the artist role, but I always find myself in the educator
Well, you're a
role.
natural teacher.
Yeah.
How does the current digitization of art affect an artist's ability to take risk?
I was about to say hit up. I get approached at least 12 emails a year. Maybe Eastern European, maybe African, someone. They're like, yeah, I want to buy your work. And then we send them a catalog, send them this and this and that. They were like, yeah, I want to buy it for $1 Ethereum and make it an NFT or something like that. I'm like, you could have said this a long time ago. Did they take my whole catalog and digitize it and is selling it already? I don't know, because they have the catalog now. They have the work.
So who has the work?
Whoever emailed. Like, I'll just send, like, so artists oftentimes keep their catalogs private, and it's per request, upon request. So it's like these scammers that just approach artists, and sometimes they're trying to scam you digitally for your physical work, but sometimes they're trying to scam you also for your physical work, but also your digital work. So if they have your catalog, they have 12 of your pieces, right? They can put 12 of your pieces into an algorithm and say, make one more in this style, and use that to do their own thing. It's scary. The future is scary.
So there's obviously this risk where people can just digitize, turn your art into an NFT.
People can turn your art into an NFT. People can print your work out without your permission. People can take your work and alter it and make it their own, and consider themselves digital artists.
Do you think there's going to be a space where if a person wanted to stay a traditional, like analog artist, they'll be able to, or do you think everyone's going to be forced into digitizing their work?
I think every revolution has a counter revolution. So we're in, can I say where we are right now? We're in DC.
Yeah.
I see a H&M shut down, and a Barnes and Nobles is going up.
Nuts.
So we know how fast fashion was big, but bookstores are coming back. Record stores are making a comeback. Physical nostalgia is a big thing. I think art is going to move into that niche nostalgia, those who know categories, and I think it's going to make art even more valuable as the market gets flooded with all this digital stuff. So I don't remember what book I read this in, but it says from an artist perspective, it's better to sell one painting for $100,000 than sell 100 paintings for $1,000. So we don't necessarily need a critical mass of individuals to support us. We just need a core group of people that believe in the work, want to steward the work, and carry that work on for generations to come.
Well, when you go to Rome, right, you see, wow. Roman Catholic Church has done a lot of things.
Yeah.
But if they didn't do that, right, the Borgias, if they didn't preserve that art, we would have lost so much. And throughout history, pretty much every continent, throughout every time, you have had people, some random ruler, some random iron worker that was like, you know what, that's beautiful. I value that, and we want to support this or preserve it.
Yeah.
What about artists adding new technological means to create art, as opposed to, and that's how art grows, as opposed to it being at risk of being misappropriated?
I think it's important to embrace new technology. There was a certain point in history where everybody's cameras were on film, and people had to get down or lay down.
Yeah.
And there was people that were traditionalists. I'm a film. I do film, and that's it. But the camera is really what was one of the biggest blows. Let me rephrase this one more time. So art has always been affected by technology. So realism was less appreciated at the advent of photography.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't need artists to create these realistic works anymore, because we could get that from cameras. Like presidential portraits is a tradition now that, do we really need it with cameras now? But it's a great honor. It's one of the highest honors as an artist could have in this nation and in many nations. One of my mentors and somebody I look up to is Semi Knox, who's based out here in DC, was the first Black man to do a presidential portrait commission. Now we've had Kehinde Wiley do it and things of that sort. But I think Barack's official portrait was a photo. A photo. He was the first president to do a photo.
Interesting.
But photography's been out since what, 1800s?
Yeah.
So there's going to be opportunities to grow with the times or to be left behind.
Do you think artists will have to be more creative if an AI chatbot can create an image in 10 seconds, right? Less than that.
Yeah.
You know, because what I think of is that art is just such a part of the human experience, and it always has been. You get those depictions of people and animals in caves. You know, we have been drawing things for
centuries,
millennia, yeah, thousands of years, and it's allowed us to communicate something, right? And my question is, how do we preserve that sentiment, no matter how it looks, right? No matter if it's the realist depiction or the painting or the photography, like the core themes of what makes art. How do we ensure that we don't lose that, or are we supposed to lose it?
It's interesting that you asked me this question, and on the back end of asking me, like, why do people like still rep their home countries, right? And it's like, because with the home country, it's not really even about the home country, it's about the culture. And I didn't mention that. So thank you for reminding me. It's the culture. It's not even necessarily the country, it's the culture, it's the food, it's the spice, it's the art, it's the life, it's the music, it's the energy, the vibe. I recently went up to Baltimore.
Yeah.
DC and Baltimore are 45-hour wait. The energy, the vibe, the culture
couldn't be any more different.
Couldn't be any more different.
Couldn't be any more different.
So the idea that America is this cohesive unit is an idea in our minds. Because if DC and Baltimore, two major cities 45 minutes away, have different cultures, and you know, it wouldn't be fair to ask someone from Baltimore, like, why do you represent Baltimore so much? Or ask somebody from DC, why do you represent DC so much? DC and Baltimore are these people's nations.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that I'm doing my best, and you can cut this part out, to not be political in this thing, but like,
say whatever you want.
To think that someone from Florida is more connected to someone from Alaska than someone from the Bahamas 30 minutes away is an illusion in our minds. And artists create these illusions. Every king's court has an artist. Every major corporation has an artist. That Apple symbol, the Lyft, the Uber, the Microsoft. There's a graphic designer that is behind that, creating a certain sense of familiarity.
Yeah.
When I'm in like being in Canada, you'll see like shout out to all my Canadians, right? But almost feels like off-brand. Their artists are different. The people that are making the logos, the people that are making the fonts, the people that are making the advertisements have a different perspective.
Yeah.
And we automatic, you can see it. It feels like off-brand, like Save On. What is Save On? You know what I mean? But it's theirs. You go to the Middle East and there's advertisement. That's all led by artists.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm nervous, but let me get my thoughts together. I think as the world digitizes and gets more connected, I would hate to see like the advertisements in Haiti become more kind of American. The advertisements in, say, Vancouver become more like where is the center?
Yeah.
And in this digital new world, would the West or will America be the center of that, or will more of our fonts look more Asian or Chinese or Southeast Asian? You know.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting, but I don't think there's a clear path, but we're definitely further into it than we believe that we are.
You remember traveling when you were younger and you would go to different countries. Like I remember going to different countries in the 90s, right? Early 2000s. And people legitimately dressed differently.
Yes.
Did you notice that? Then all of a sudden, like if you go, I was in Madagascar over the summer, right? People had on like knockoff, Louis Vuitton in Madagascar. It's the fourth poorest country. And literally, it's not just that it's poor, it's at the edge of the earth.
Yeah. And they still want to.
But you see like this cultural adaptation where everyone mimics each other.
Yeah. I remember being in Paris in 2010, like watched the 2012, Watch the Throne dropped, and the tight jeans were still like controversial. And I saw black men in Paris with the tight jeans on. And I even saw men holding hands, but it wasn't a sexual thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, are they mimicking us, or are we mimicking them? Or is it like a double back and forth?
Yeah.
Because the rappers that we were looking at that were first wearing those clothes were going to Paris in 2010, 2008. But what's even deeper than that is that the people that I saw wearing those things were from the continent, but living it. They might have been born and raised in Paris, but parents are from Senegal or Gambia or Cameroon or something like that. And seeing those things and seeing people dress different, like I was in Baltimore yesterday, people just dress different.
Completely.
But there still are through lines.
Yeah.
Right? And it makes you question, like, what does an American dress like? Like, I'm sure Texas has its own style than New York, and New York from LA and LA from Florida, but there still is this like thread. And I think some of my artwork tries to tie those threads in, and sometimes my artwork tries to de-thread it, takes it apart and makes you reimagine everything. I like playing with time a lot in my artwork. I like creating work that you can't place it in time. Is it like 1950 or 2050? Those nuances, playing with time, is important for me.
You like, it seems that like constructs, right? Like culture is a big construct for you. Haitian, Black culture, American culture, international culture. And you seem to have an understanding of these cultures are all fake. Also, they're all very real.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the mind is a blank canvas. And to give it some structure, we paint the
Constructs.
various cultures.
I think the word you're looking for is constructs. They're constructs.
Yeah.
Time, we understand time is a construct. And I feel like I've been bending time for a long time now.
Which time is bendable.
And you travel, right? Like coming back from Europe, you always get that extra 6 hours or whatnot. And there's people that do that often, you know, and are able to bend time. But tying it back to art, I went to dinner with some pretty influential people in DC. Some like worked in the White House during the Obama era, and they were talking about meditation and like 20 minutes of meditation equaling like 6 hours of rest to a certain extent. 20 minutes of nothingness, being, resting the mind, clearing the mind out, allowing the mind to open up for other creativity and things of that sort. I think it was transcendental meditation.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized with art, I'm trying to tie everything back to the art, I didn't realize that I've been hacking the system because I've been meditating. Every time I get on a canvas, I meditate. I'm not thinking about geopolitical politics. I'm not thinking about Haiti or America or anything like that. I'm just thinking about blue.
Yeah.
And thinking about blue for 20 minutes is, I think, fulfilling. I think people talk about this when they work out too. They're just thinking about working out when they work out.
That runner's high, that workout high.
Yeah, I think that's important for us, as in when in context with what you were saying about distractions and everything being distractions. I think one of the things that I want to do is create a work that's so dynamic that somebody can access it and not access it within 30 seconds of seeing it and move on, but access it and meditate on it and do 10 minutes of just, how did you do that? How did you do that? Put people in somewhat of a deep thought or a deep thinking state.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is, man, it's just, I mean, it's so many things, so many places to go from there. In terms of what you just said, like how you use art for meditation, where would you be without art? Seems like it's just such a core part of who you are.
For sure. Where would I be without art? I probably wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't be here, man.
Do you think Black art, especially in the fine art space, do you think is treated with ambiguity, with reverence, with confusion? What are the emotions that you feel in comparison to other cultures or other art? Like, what do you think its experience is, the art itself?
I think Black art is multifaceted and multidimensional. I think it's also mislabeled to a certain extent. I'm always looking at Blackness from a global point of view, and I'm not even talking about just Africa. I'm talking like Madagascar. Well, it's technically Africa, but you see it's different culture there.
Totally.
But like
it's like Polynesian, African.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Africans in Persia. You got Africans in. You got Afro Turks. Like the diaspora is cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So when we talk about like Black art, like there's even like Japanese, like old samurai pictures of old samurais that's happened to be Black.
There's one that was, I think, one from Ethiopia or something, like East Africa, that somehow ended up in Japan. It was a Black samurai.
Yeah.
So it's not just like this. I think often, especially being American, especially being Black American, we always feel as though we're the center of the Black universe.
Yeah, and I feel lucky to have grown up around that, you know, that arrogance, that pride, that and I feel like they've done great work to earn that title.
We feel like we speak for everyone. Every Black issue around the world is, you know, subconsciously one of our issues.
Yeah.
Right. We feel like we have like the coolest nuances, but if you extrapolate that out, it's so many different, especially from an international perspective.
Oh yeah.
So many different types of Blackness that
Colombia.
So it's hard to.
Republic, Haiti,
it's a big crown to wear.
Venezuela, Belize, Guyana, like, but even like Australia and like Vanuatu, and like I was in Hawaii in 2016 for a Smithsonian show, and I got to meet 3 professors at the University of Hawaii, Manoa, and 3 brothers, deep voice. 2 of them were darker than me, and one was from Fiji, one was from Samoa, and I think the last one, I can't remember. I still have the picture. And I was trying to explain to them what Blackness was from this American perspective. And I think one of them was like, how long do you have to be from a place to be from a place? We've been where we was at for 5,000 years.
Yeah.
So even if we do come from Africa, like, is 5,000 years not enough time? Like, my parents was gone from Haiti 2 years, you know, and I can't claim that. So it's like we're like selective in the boxes that we put people in. Totally. So I think your question about Black art being misunderstood or ambiguous, or I don't remember the word you said, but I think just the term Blackness in general is already misunderstood and already pigeonholed. So for me to go into that conversation is kind of limiting to a certain extent. Knowing what I knew. So that just changed my whole perspective on Black. And these people, I hope that doesn't
those people. These people.
These people. But we're telling me to do, like, you should do some research on the gods that they claim and they come from. And like their god is the big Black, like the Polynesian, but their god comes from not Black skin or not Africa, but from the ocean, from the bottom of the ocean. They believe
from the lava.
Yeah, like the Black lava, the Black ocean, that like creation story. And so I one of my passions is to kind of expand this definition of Blackness outside of race, outside of Africa, outside of the Caribbean, outside of America, more so Blackness as like just the iris. Everybody's, no matter what race you are, your iris is Black. And so everybody is seeing through Blackness. And your eye, like that Black disc in your eye that allows you to see, is a black hole. The thing out of space is a black hole. A volcano is a black hole. Your womb, the womb that we come out of, is a black hole. Everybody comes from Blackness to a certain extent, no matter your race. And that's the types of things that I've been trying to explore in my work with these kind of entendres. Norman Lewis was a great abstract artist that was misunderstood during his time. That's what I think you were getting at. I saw his work at the Philadelphia Fine Art Academy, PIFA, Philadelphia Institute of Fine Art. Norman Lewis's work is incredible, but he said he was always trying to get into the entendre. And his work predates hip hop. And hip hop is all about the entendre. And one of my favorite, so is Black art misunderstood? Yes. Is Black art devalued? Yes. And I'll give you an example. I'm gonna give you a quadruple entendre. This is Jay-Z. And I was I thought it was a triple entendre, and I was explaining it to somebody. I was like, "No, it's a quadruple entendre."
Okay.
I was like, "Damn."
Yeah.
He said, "I jack, I rob, I son. I jack, I rob, I son." So Jackie Robinson. So, but jacking somebody is like you robbing them, right?
Yeah.
But Jay-Z was famous for taking other people's rhymes and making them better. He said, "You made it a hot line, I made it a hot song." So I jack. He's like, I've been
jacking.
Yeah. But I'm still better. I'll rob you, and I'll son you. I'm your father. But Jackie Robinson was so good because he used to steal bases. He couldn't only hit the ball, but he could steal bases.
Yeah.
So I jack, I rob, I son. And I was like, I want my work to be visually quadruple, triple entendres. I talked about the colors that I use, the way that I put artwork together. It's like tectonic plates almost.
Yeah.
And we all just floating on this thing, man.
Yeah. I really, really love that response because it's thoughtful.
Thank you.
In the sense of, if I was to replace that question with, hey, is Black art misunderstood? If I was to say, is Jewish art? Or if I was to say, is Chinese art? If I was to say, is Mexican art misunderstood? The answer will always be yes. Because all of these cultures, all of these perspectives, there's so many entendres, there's so many dimensions that unless you understand every single aspect of a person's whole being and their existence and the story of where they come from, it's always going to be misunderstood. That's why it's open to interpretation in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
yeah.
Man, you got any last
words
you want to share with us?
Last words. If I had last words for anybody, I would say take advantage of all of your privileges, because you may see yourself as unprivileged, but you might be privileged to somebody else that's not through the door that you're through, right? So celebrate the wins and celebrate your wins and reach back.
Yeah.
And reach back. Because I think driven people can be so driven that they don't realize that they've already surpassed what other people couldn't even dream of.
I had this conversation with some friends, right? And they have their kids in very expensive schools, very expensive elementary schools. Schools they cost what some people make in a year.
Yeah.
Okay. And I told one of my friends, I said, you know what? They were debating what other expensive school was best. Was it this one? Was it that one? Should we do this one or should we do that one? I said, listen, the fact that you're debating about schools with tuitions of $50,000 and $70,000 means that kid's gonna be just fine.
They're gonna be okay. They're gonna be all right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they're gonna be okay.
They're gonna be
be just fine. Yeah, man. Well, Charles, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, CJP Gallery. You can also find me at Howard University. That's been a passion of mine for a long time. I'm really trying to help elevate the next generation of artists coming out of there.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.